We must stop the terror. Now watch this drive.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. New setup, isn't this glorious? Welcome to the show. Upcoming stand-up dates, November 7th, Fox Creek, Alberta, November 8th, Peace River, Alberta, November 9th, Grand Prairie, Alberta, November 16th, for Danger Fest in Toronto, Ontario, November 17th with Brian Holtzman in Niagara Falls, Ontario, November 22nd in Medicine Hat, Alberta, November 29th and 30th in Edmonton, Alberta. Calgary just got added to the list for December 1st, December 13th in Thunder Bay, Ontario, December 19th in Oxnard, California. The 31st in Castlegar, BC, January 24th in Slave Lake, Alberta, and January 25th in Fort Mac, Alberta. DangerCatShop.com for tickets. If you would like to subscribe to the Patreon, an extra episode every week for you, head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/DangerCat69. All links are in the description down below. Now that we got that out of the way, how are you? How are you doing? Welcome to the show. I'm sorry to bombard you with something right out of the gate, some ads. You know, I got to promote myself. I'm not good at that. That's my weak point of getting that out there. You know, so if you're coming to the show, tell a friend, review the podcast, you know, drop a comment, a like, subscribe, all that nonsense. Halloween. It is a wonderful time where we all gather together in costume, go out for, you know what I don't like about Halloween is I enjoy it. I do. I enjoy the costumes, especially when the kids come rolling around. And when you look like a guy like me, it's not something you want to admit as being like, yeah, I love the kids at this time of year, all their crazy costumes and you're handing them candy. And I know, like, it's a difficult position to be in when you have the appearance that I do, and you enjoy this time of year because you can't admit it out in public. I already have pedo vibes. Okay, I know my aesthetic at times comes across as like, yeah, that I get it. So it's difficult, and that's what I don't like about this time. This era that we're in, that you can't be excited about something like that. It should be celebrated, but in these current trying times, especially with all the celebrities now that have come out, like the P. Diddy parties are just like a giant, you know, not good, right? Not good at all. P. Diddy and all the friends gather on an island, or, you know, Jennifer Lopez's house, and they do things that are not appropriate with children, you know, and then that's a trickle down effect for even somebody as simple as I am that enjoy such a day where the kids are having fun. And, you know, all it takes is a couple bad apples, as we know, to ruin the whole pile, spoil the bunch. It's difficult. You know, you want to see the kids having fun. Kids don't. Right now we're on them, figuratively, I may add. And all these aspects, like you got fucking parents outside, they're screaming and yelling about the kids in school, about what they're learning about. The one time a year you allow them to dress up, and then you got to scream and yell at them about what's inappropriate and what's inappropriate and what's not. And it's just a long list of ear beatings that these poor children just have to receive time and time again. You know, it's difficult. And for someone like me, I like when the kids are being creative. I like the good costumes. I like the excitement over candy. And when you look this way, you can't express that. You can't and be like, well, why do you enjoy them? You don't have kids yourself. Why would you want kids coming to your front door? You know, let's give them candy. Oh, is that all? I was like, yeah, like A child's joy is contagious. When you hear them giggling and laughing down the street, you can't help but giggle and laugh, you know? Even, for instance, I was in a department store of some sort. I can't recall which one. I think it was like a Marshall's or a Winners, and I was looking for linens, you know, bed sheets. And directly behind me is the toys. The toys are right there. And, you know, Uncle Hack in the wild isn't, you know, I'm not a sharp dressed guy. I'm not. The mustache doesn't help. The lack of sleep and bags under the eyes is just a nice aesthetic of stress. Even though, like, I'm relaxed, you know, I'm relaxed. I'm getting my sleep in, going trying to work out. But as you get older, sleep just gets a little harder. And now it's like, you just look the part. And I'm giggling because this little girl, again, doesn't sound good, is behind me, but she's pressing buttons on a toy and like dancing to the music that the toy's playing. And I'm having a little chuckle. I'm like, oh, she's having a good time. That's awesome. But me, as a lonesome character in public, is not a good look as I'm laughing with a child. It's not a good look. You know, the mother is just an aisle over, and then all of a sudden you hear the name being called out. Hey, Alyssa, where are you? I'm right here, Mom. And then the mom comes around the corner, and it's just me and her, and I got to like distance myself. You know what I mean? I got to distance myself from a child. I mean, like, listen, I'm fucking, you know, and you're over explaining. She's having fun. I just was like, yeah, that's a sick tune. I wouldn't mind a boogie down to that, because in my head, I still have the brain of like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. And if you listen to this podcast for quite some time, you would understand that not an intelligent being is behind this microphone. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. Little things excite me. Okay? I have dumb thoughts, and those dumb thoughts have gotten me into a bit of a conundrum here in the past little while because of the stupid shit that I find funny. And then you get, you know what I mean? So now I'm in this like Mexican standoff with a mom of who's like probably in her head accusing me of like trying to, and meanwhile, I'm just like in my dog brain, this is a good time. I have a good time. You know, I come from a large family, and a lot of the cousins, and they got small children now, and it's joyful to be around. So it reminds you of home. You know, it's a nice nostalgic feeling that settles in when you hear the children giggle. You know, it is. It just reminds me of my family. And meanwhile, you gotta like, you're backstepping a little bit. Like, hey, amigo, put the fucking guns down here. I'm not one of them. Okay. And then when you say that, you sound like one of them. So it's difficult business out there once Halloween rolls around, especially a fucking dude like myself that enjoys it. You know, I've noticed that now I've gotten to a place that a young man's brain thinks like I got to go out on Halloween because all the girls dress a little slutty. It's a lot of fun. You're catching a glimpse of some cheeks that you may not necessarily see in day-to-day life, right? Like not every girl, like these right-wing, not even right-wing. Why am I saying right-wing? Like these alpha bros would be like, every girl's a whore. You got bro Chacho Man Randy 70. Listen here, brother. Yeah, every time I walk out in public, all I see is whores. What is the janitor doing over there? Yeah, probably going in the broom closet to fuck herself on OnlyFans. And that's the destruction of society. Yeah. You know, I'm not... I don't know why I went down that road, but in a young man's brain, it's exciting because you're going out. And especially when I was 18 to like 24, that was like the era where you were like, oh yes, I finally get to, hey, I hope fucking Cynthia is dressing up like that slutty cop she was last year. I hope to God she's putting zero effort into her costume and has the cheeks out, you know? And then now I cross over at like 31, your bros and family members start having children, and you're laughing like you dress them up like minions, you know. You love when the family members dress their kids up like minions. The dad is Gru, you know, they come through your hand and, oh, I made a specific candy bag just for my nephews and nieces. I'm so happy you're here. And you move away from that and you miss that. And so the joyful laughter of a child, then it soothes your heart. But as a dude, you can't be out in public just enjoying it. Cause it does, like, it fucking, can we not anymore? Can we as fellas just like not be attributed to being pedos because like kids are fun to be around? You know, I'm not one of these guys that are like, oh, kids are awful. You know, like you get around those people. Kids are the worst, aren't they? No, they're not. They're so much fun. They get to do, like, I envy and I'm jealous of the bros out there that are having kids right now, and you get to relive your childhood. You're showing your kid all the cool stuff that you thought was rad, and now it's gotten better. The technology's better. The video games are better, you know? Oh, look at this. My kid loves hockey. I love hockey. We're going to go to the rink. We're going to go to hockey games. We're going to watch it on television together. This is what I'm talking about. Peak male existence. Bros that are there for their kids rule. You guys, top-notch fellas, you know? Top-notch fellas. I know there's a little bit of a spin on this podcast. Don't worry. I'm trying out this new thing called positivity. Have you ever tried that out, bros? Huh? Have you ever tried just waking up and being like, today's going to kick ass? Well, we've been trying it out. I took a little hiatus here. I've as you can see, I got a new setup going on. Things are a little different. That's all. I don't like to delve into my personal life too much on this podcast, but obviously there's a change behind me, so we have to address it. Yes, a couple skateboards hanging on the wall. Who is this guy, Bony Cock? Huh? Get out of here with that. But yeah, the whole Halloween scenario. And that leads me into our first article because it, you know, as a child, you can get away with some things. We as adults, you know, sometimes our brains aren't firing the best. And where are we? So the headline reads, apology over KKK costume at Halloween party doesn't go far enough, Nova Scotia advocates say. Now this is... all right, you know, oh, he's laughing. He must find this fun. No. First off, you know, it's 2024, okay? If you want to do a racist costume, by all means, who am I to fucking tell you to not do? Do whatever you want with your life. It's up to you. You live it however you want to live it. But like, can you be original with it? Yeah, I know this is a bad take. It is a bad take. It's a horrible take. That's the point of me making this take. Like, it's too easy. It's too easy. Come on. And like, at this point, I think the whole KKK thing is a little, like, it's a little, come on. And I'm not even trying to be like a progressive guy here. You know, like, what is that funny for? Like the 10 seconds, you know, 10 seconds, you walk in and it's over. The goof is up. And now you have to spend the rest of the night in this outrageous costume. And the publicity that comes out from it at this point, you gotta, you know, we are in a, I know, but I'm getting a little, because it is like, it's not even a good costume, you know, it's not even a good, we'll get into the video portion of this, because this is where it gets interesting for those that are speaking on this. Well, let's go back here for just 1 second, because there's a key detail that we're missing out. It was something to do with there we go. In a Nova Scotia Halloween dance has spread far and wide. Outrage has followed online and attempts at apologies made, but members of the African Nova Scotian community question just what will result from this incident. This is 2024, and this is what we're still doing. That is what we're still. This is what we're still fighting. I mean, for 4 piss bags dressed up, you know, in a costume that maybe should you have done it? Probably not. Okay, probably not. Is there a few other ones? How many people are getting dragged for doing blackface in 1994? Do you in your head think that the Klan costume is going to go over well? You know, how many folks have done, like, there was just a councilman in Victoria, British Columbia. I think his name is Ian Ward. And he got popped for doing blackface in like 2001. They found it on a blog, and he tried to like slough it off like the left is trying to attack. Was the left there painting your face with a paint roller? He even admitted it took 2.5 hours of makeup, which makes me question, how long did Big Trudy have to do? How long was he in the makeup chair to make it look that good? Because this Ian Ward's was not nearly as good as Big Trudy's. You know, like, that's the elite of elite when it comes to blackface, I think, in Canadian blackface history. But what I'm saying is, in 2001, okay, you know, it was different times back then, and we can admit that it was different times back then, right? But now we fast forward to 2024, and people from the past are getting dragged for costumes that they did 20, 30, 40 fucking years ago, and you looked in the mirror and said to yourself, you know what, I think I'm going to go with the bed sheets with the hole in it. And they didn't stop there. They made a makeshift cross and came in as a foursome, and it's insane. That's the thing. And I know this is what happened to your hack? No, I'm saying right now, 2024. How many times do we have to watch people get drug into the pits of hell and roasted by the flames, the high hell flames of the public circle of social media, before we're like, you know what? All right, maybe, just maybe, not a good idea. Maybe, I don't know. Should I do the Klan thing? Yeah. What are you gonna do next year? Himmler? Are you out of your mind? I'd like to be in the room during the conversation. It's like, hey, what are you dressing up as? Keep in mind, 4 of these guys got together. What are you dressing up as? I was thinking of going as Fred Flintstone. What about you? Well, you see, the wife bought these sheets. She got these sheets that don't fit the bed that well. The pillowcase, whatnot, the color that she thought. She ordered it on Amazon, right? Didn't look at the selection, right? We got a king size. She ordered a queen. We don't have a queen. The pillowcases were just like, she didn't look at the pillowcase size, and we got the oversized one, so they don't fit. And I was just looking at it, and it's white sheets, and I was thinking to myself, like, all I got to do now is just cut a few holes in those, and I'm set. Oh, you're going as a ghost? Well, you know, I was thinking. And then another guy chimes in, and he goes, you know what? You know what's crazy? My wife did the same thing. My wife went on Amazon, except for getting the queen, she got twin bed sheets. So if you're doing what I think you're doing, let me get the scissors, and we got ourselves a costume, a little party. Holy hell, I can't believe it that we're still...
This is 2024, and this is what we're still doing. This is what we're still fighting.
Tia Upshaw was horrified.
Get a look at that. Get a look at that. The fucking hell. You know what's crazy is, so I'm from a little town called Taber, Alberta, for all the new listeners there. And the only time I've ever seen anybody dress up as a Klansman was actually the only black guy that lived in town, which is probably the only appropriate time that, the Klan suit can come out. And I get that maybe they're trying to be ironic with this, and just it's the shot. And I know the guy that's sitting here trying to make a moral stance on this. I'm not, okay. I'm not trying to make a moral stance. I understand. Well, heck, didn't you just go through something that fucking could be considered a little? No. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just, out of all the things to dress up as, and you do this, now you could have got away with it if you didn't bring the cross. You had to bring the cross. A makeshift cross, plus that would be kind of funny. And I know, okay, this is getting wild. We're getting deep in the weeds here. Okay, we're getting deep in the weeds here, and it would be funny if the Klan came out, whatever remaining members are out there. Is there even a Ku Klux Klan that still exists? And if there is, it's got to be like a pathetic amount of numbers. A pathetic amount of numbers. I can't even fathom or believe that they would be able to drive out hundreds of people. I can't. But it would be funny, like the last remaining members, whatever, the 12 of them that get together in the woods just to light one of those crosses up on fire, and they put out a statement condemning them and saying that we would never dress this scantily. The one guy's in the background with spandex on and work boots by the look of it. And the Klan comes out and be like, this isn't even an official uniform. What are we mad about? That would kind of be funny. And I know, what do you mean? What this type of shit isn't fun? It would be kind of funny if they did. Because then you got like both sides that are kind of agreeing on something, not the same points, but they are agreeing on something that these four guys are just kind of left out in the wild by themselves to just defend their actions and be like, well, I don't, we were goofing around, and be like, the Klan's over there, well, this is serious business for us. And then the other side that's like against this and be like, yeah, it's serious business for us too. You think we're joking around about this shit? And then like the Klan looks at them. Yeah, no shit. And then they start agreeing because four idiots showed up at a Halloween party. The Klan looks at them. Do you think we would burn a dinky cross like that? What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking? Do you think that we would waste our time putting together 2 broomsticks to light on fire? No. Have you seen the crosses that we burn? There's 12 of us. It takes 4 days to erect this thing from the ground and dose it in gasoline so we can light this up and do whatever seance ceremony that we have. I don't even know what the fuck they do in the bush. They like raise torches and drop them, raise torches and drop them. I've seen a few prison documentaries talking about Klan members, and then they go through the history of it and whatnot. But like, and then like the advocate would look over and be like, you know what? Now that you say that, it starts agreeing a little bit and be like, yeah, you know what? These guys are fucking retarded, aren't they? Yeah, they are fucking retarded. The only time that you see advocates and Klansmen agreeing on something and be like, yeah, I don't like these guys. And be like, well, yeah, we don't like them fucking either. That would be wild. That the costume is crazy. This is good stuff right here, folks.
When pictures came across her social media feed showing 4 people wearing long white robes and pointed white hoods, one carrying a large cross. Video taken inside what appears to be the North Sydney Firefighters Club shows some attendees dressed as members of
the witch is no selling this. The entrance is great. The pirate is dancing.
Taken inside
wants nothing to do with it.
Sydney Firefighters Club.
The witch has no idea what's going on beside or behind her.
Attending a Halloween party.
Ku Klux Klan, KKK. I don't care what rock you come from under. Everybody knows what they stand for, who they were, and what it represents for Black individuals.
The fact that people continue to do things like this and know that it's okay. Like they probably thought it was going to be a good laugh, or you
know what? Now that I think about it, there's probably those 4 guys that dressed up as the Klan they're probably outnumber actual Klan members in Nova Scotia. and I'm not trying to like deter away from what this guy is saying and what he's about to say, but I'm gonna go and make an assumption that that was the most Klan activity that Nova Scotia has seen in a minute. Now, like obviously we don't hear about any of the Klan activity, and if there was, we would be hearing about it. What am I fucking saying? If there was Klan activity in Nova Scotia, but this is, hear me out. This is where like these advocate groups and whatnot. Like this is going to be a rocky start to this. This is like a good thing for them because they can now justify their points and come out and take a stance against it over 4 morons dressing up as Klansmen going to a Halloween party. Are you following me here a little bit, or am I deep in the woods on this? And then it justifies like the funding going into this because now it's like, because I'm noticing one thing that keeps happening is a lot of these groups, the only way to make money in Canada right now is having some sort of like community group and nothing against what they're doing, but it seems like there is money allocated for these types of groups and it has to be justified. So in a wild, dumbass way of 4 guys who are probably, half skanked, dicking around at a Halloween dance in Nova Scotia, they have now allowed these guys to like come out and be advocates and justify the reasoning for their budget because they're fighting against this. But meanwhile, like the Klan numbers are probably so low. I mean, I remember going to Provost, which was like a fucking foothold for those guys back in the day in Alberta. And you talk to the young kids and they're like, yeah, I don't fucking, it's, I remember talking to one gentleman, and I'm not going to out his name or anything like that, but he was telling me that his grandfather was in it. And I was like, well, pardon me? And he's like, yeah, it's, we don't like to talk about it. But it's like, it is kind of funny because he's like fucking on his deathbed. And he like made a point. He's like, don't worry, I'm not like, I was like, okay, that's cool. Even if you were, have fun. I mean, like, what are you doing out here? You're in Provost, Alberta. You're in Central Alberta. How many black people are here that you guys need to be like, hey, get them out of the town? It's like, yeah, when they come off the plane at Pearson Airport in Toronto, the first thing they say and be like, where do we want to go? We want to go to Provost. And then now that gives you like, fucking, they're going to take over out here in Provost, Alberta. It's 3,000 people strong and we can't have that. Like, which is a funny place to like prop up. You are in the center of a province, a major center. The closest one to you is probably Edmonton, which is like 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. So even from a distance, plus you go there now, it's a lot different. But I do find it funny that there was folks out there and be like, we got to make sure we keep them out of here. It's like, dude, nobody wants to be here. Nobody wants to be here. Most people leave their town. And to think that like immigrants are coming to be like, I hear of this metropolis called Provost, Alberta. And then fucking, well, that's why we need the Klan. But my point being with this is like the groups that do take a stance against this, I imagine that there is some form of public funding that comes into it. So now they can justify like why a check should be cut their way. And you know what? Power to them. It's a good living. But what happens what if we solve racism? What if we solve all this like bigotry or all this? Like what if somebody like a magic genie just popped up and one day they're just like, hey, I wish for all of this to go away, and it just like poof goes away. Then what? What do you do? What do you do after that? It's almost like, same with like with like racists. What do they do? What if you just went somewhere where you don't have to do that anymore. What happens? What do? Do you pick up carpentry, pottery? What do? Do you got to find like a new hobby? You got to find, like, especially like for somebody who is like an advocate, like the gentleman we were just speaking there. Like, like if it goes away, what happens? What do you do then? Because you can't justify the funding anymore coming in. So it's like, I don't know. My point being is I'm not saying that this gent here is only doing this because of money. Maybe something happened to him. Maybe something, listen to me trying to be empathetic to everybody's life here. What a total change in a week and a half of this podcast, huh? You don't get one episode. I take a little time away, get a little mental clarity. I come back and we're having fun again. We're giggling and I'm not angry. It's amazing what a little time away will do. You kick your feet up, you enjoy yourself, you start noticing things in public, like how women view you while you're around their children. And it's like, oh God, do I got to change my appearance just so I can waltz around and enjoy? Like if I showed up at a park, there would be a fucking police officer within like 15, 16 minutes. Cause I'm in an area now where the property taxes are a little higher. So they take their job serious out here. It's interesting, but let's get back to this.
That's the sad part about it.
The North Sydney Firefighters Club executive made a Facebook post Sunday night. We made a mistake, the post reads. We apologize to any and all of our community who were offended or hurt by our lack of actions. These 4 individuals are in no way, shape, or form associated with our organization.
Oh, so they're not even firefighters.
Future.
There was no empathy or anything in that apology. It was basically just an apology to save face after the fact because of the backlash. You know what I mean?
Well, what more? I don't know what more. Like they threw a dance. 4 retards came and showed up, and they're dressed like assholes. And now the whole organization is smeared with that brush. It's like, what more do you want? I don't know. What more do you want? I know this is like good clickbait news as well. So it gets you going, gets your emotions going, and that's what it's designed for. And maybe this person has a strong opinion against like what's going on there, and he thinks that there needs to be more. But 4 idiots show up. They tell him, hey, take that off and get rid of the fucking cross. What are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Have you lost your mind? This is something you do at a house party, pal. This is something that you do at a house party. We are here, and you think that we are here at the community hall, for Christ's sakes. It's a fucking firemen's gathering here. We're trying to raise money for the fucking fire hall. We're trying to fix the goddamn catalytic converter on one of the vehicles here because the crackhead stole it. What are you doing? We need a new hose. There's holes in the fucking hoses that we have when we go to put out fires, and you guys fucking show up here. This is supposed to be like a ha-ha. We're all having fun, dancing, singing, and you guys show up here like we're about to fucking lynch goddamn Martin Luther King. What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you?
If people weren't calling and sending emails, we wouldn't have gotten an apology.
In a separate Facebook post, North Sydney Deputy Fire Chief Wade Guthrow asked for the community's forgiveness, saying, most times we think, it's a costume without really thinking of the big picture or the past it represents. So when the folks comment that they shouldn't have gotten in and that we need to do better, you are right, and we will.
We've seen the systemic racism, and it continues to seep into everything. And there's no accountability or consequences.
Provo hopes there will be steps made to try and educate moving forward, as an apology without action means nothing. Megan King, Global News.
Apology without action. I mean, like, what action are we, what are you after with that, something like that? What is the end goal, I guess? What is it you want? Nobody says what they want out of it. Do you want money? Do you want a donation? What we need more. Well, what's the more? That, are we allowed to ask that? Because I think it's like tough to assume, just like, even what's going on right now. Here's one thing that has been kind of irritating me as of late with the whole, the Trump rally, right? Right now, I think it's looking like it's going to be a landslide in America. It seems like a lot of Americans, the media is on its last push. I mean, you got 2 attempted assassination attempts on the former sitting president. The media now is attributing that his rallies resemble Nazi rallies because he held it at Madison Square Garden. A comedian comes up and Tony Hinchcliffe says that Puerto Rico is a floating pile of garbage, and that's what they went. It's like fucking racist, and you brought a roast comic on to like open the show up. 11 minutes of jokes, and then we got people coming out and be like, "This is like fucking." Can we just not? Can we? When did we all? It's not even all of us. When did some of us get a stick up our ass about just taking a piss on things? Joking around, and I see at some points it's like, maybe this isn't the place to do that. And it's like all these political rallies in America bring out comedians like George Lopez, I think just did the Democratic parties. Who else? There's been a few comedians that have opened up some of these rallies with some jokes and like make it lighthearted before you get into be like, Kamala Harris is a fucking bitch. Donald Trump is a Nazi. Before you do that, let's get the comic up and get some giggles going and get the people riled up. Have them laughing a little bit. It's a show. It's a show at the end of the day. They got performers going up. Hulk Hogan is up there tearing t-shirts off, for Christ's sakes. You couldn't get more into the like we're delving into the reality of idiocracy more and more every day. And a lot of us just don't want to recognize that it's pure entertainment, and it's unfortunate that we don't have that form of entertainment with our politics up here. Instead, it's just like, I don't know, our politicians compared to American politicians are quite different. And we like to attribute characteristics and factors of American politics to Canadian politics, which I don't think cross over that well. Like I keep hearing this thing, Trump style politics on the right, and that's like because you're attacking. But meanwhile, the left or the libs will do that to the conservatives, but somehow that's just because of, I don't know, moral superiority. I don't know how to justify that in my head. Of like what makes this side be able to take shots at this side, but as soon as this side, the right does it back, it's all of a sudden Trump style politics, and it's like, oh, we're attacking the media, and Poilievre's like stance on the CBC of like defunding it, and a lot of Canadians kind of agree with it because you're seeing these massive corporate payouts to the executives that are just ungodly, especially in a time when a lot of Canadians are struggling. I think it makes sense to them. It has nothing to do with the content on the CBC. Meanwhile, like it's not the greatest. Canadian television hasn't been that great. The CRTC has too many standards that I think to allow the creativity to really step in and create something that is great. I think that would help. That would help if you allowed people, instead of trying to play these identity politics, it's just allow people to go and create these great things, because that's where these wonderful and awesome TV shows stem from, is just having full creative freedom. Most people that are already in that type of industry are accepting of many different ways. So you're just all of a sudden you're condensing that circle and trying to make it like so tiny and tight that it just becomes, there's too many barriers to jump over to make something awesome. So I can see like the artist side of that and also the taxpayer side of that when it comes to wanting to defund the CBC. I can totally get where some people are they're not stoked when they hear, oh yeah, the CBC just pumped out $43 million in bonuses to all their executives, and be like, dude, I am struggling right now to pay my gas bill. Meanwhile, some broad that just sits there and is like, well, we pretend to care, gets a $1.2 million check stroked to her for what reason? Why don't I get a $1.2 million check, you know? Which is it, and I see it because I think viewership on their app. I think like people. What did I seen a statistics that people sit on this CBC app for like 13 minutes a month. 13 minutes a month, and they were trying to justify like a pile of cash being dumped into that. It's just a money laundering scheme at this point. And it's unfortunate. And bring it back to American politics versus Canadian politics is there are some similarities, but I don't think it gets that deep in the campaigning. Not too many people are very passionate about Canadian politics like they are with something like the Trump campaign. Not too many people are rearing up to go to a Pierre Poilievre campaign, and it's unfortunate. It'd be great if you drug out some Canadian artists to go, but here's the thing. Who the fuck are Canadian artists? That's unfortunate as well. And I don't even want to shit on Canadian artists because I want to see Canadians do great. Obviously, I've spent the better half of just like playing this, like, whoa, Canadian fucking shit sucks. No. I love seeing Canadians win. I love seeing them in Canadians, like someone like Ryan Long, Ben Bankus, who else was just down and was on Kill Tony, the Man News, Andrew Packer. You got Aaron Belial, who's killing it down there on America's Got Talent and Kill Tony, Jared Nathan, Danny Polishuk. These are all great Canadian comics that are killing it down in America and doing a wonderful job. But then, you try and do something up here and if you aren't straight and narrow, you're punished for that. And it's unfortunate because we have a lot of great things that are happening here in this country, but they get shot down, and it stinks. For what? It stinks. I want to see people do good. I don't like the current state of I don't like how people are struggling. It deeply irritates me, honestly. I don't like the fact that the system is being taken advantage of. And I don't like the fact that we're at odds with one another over the decisions that are made by politicians. I don't like that. I don't. It deeply irritates me. And I feel like it sucks because you see people out in public. You see them walking there. It's not the gloomy Canada that I remember. There's a lot of animosity. We're not as cheerful and joyful to be around like we once were, which is depressing. And maybe I attribute to that in some sense by being a miserable prick when I come on this podcast at times just to air my thoughts and get it out there. But and to be like black-pilled, bro, is kind of gay now. It's kind of gay. I want to be optimistic. I want to think that there's a better future for everybody, especially now. Like I was talking about earlier, having family members with kids, and you see the kids and the joy on their faces of just being out in public. But then the mother or the father, you can just see the stress of the world weighing on their shoulders of like, how can I just make ends meet so this child can survive? It sucks to witness that, because these are fellow human beings as well. This is the common man. The common man gets shit on time and time again. And I just want to see the common man win. That's it. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to express either. I don't want to watch anybody's downfall. Like seeing folks that are constantly negative and be like, oh, bro, like the dog. But even when some of the individuals that were like dogpiling on us while we were going through the quote unquote cancellation, it sucks. It sucks because you get to see them and their online activity through their profiles, and you scroll through some of the stuff that they're posting about, and it's like, oh my God, like your life is in shambles. So is this a projection of oneself, of the hate you have for you now directed at some other being on the internet? And I get like, oh, I'm not trying to slough off like, yeah, okay, fucking jokes, bad. Okay, good. We'll say that. But at what point do you look inward, you know? Because I know, like, me personally, being in this constant state of anger and stress, it's depleting. It eats up your mental fucking hard drive. So it's tough to get out of that. It's tough to get out of that. And especially when negativity is always being thrown your way. And you want to just like, bro, you want to coast. You want to get out there. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to giggle. You want to smile. You want to laugh. You want to hang out with the bros. You know, you want to cuddle your wife. There's nothing gay about cuddling the wife. You want to hang out with your loved ones. As you get older, like those things matter more. And they should matter in your youth, but you got to go explore the world. You got to experience it and feel your downfalls and feel your successes and then see who's around you while you're celebrating and who's happy for you, who isn't. And you always, then you get that core group of people that are truly there with their best intentions for you, and you have your best intentions towards them, and you create a beautiful bond with one another. And I know this is some gay shit, but it's true. As you get older, you admire and respect and really try to cater to those relationships with those people and build one another up. And that's what we should be doing. And maybe I've been kind of contributing to the negative aspect by talking about these crazy things that happen in the news. But I do find most of this kind of funny, like 4 gentlemen getting up off their ass thinking that it's a great idea to dress as Klansmen in 2024 and go down to the local fire hall with a makeshift fucking cross was a good idea. Meanwhile, and then the backlash that comes with it. Now the firefighter club is just taking all these bullets for these guys. But meanwhile, 4 drunks that were probably half in the bag got out of a Chevy Silverado, can spilling out, it's reeking like cigarette smoke, walk into a Halloween dance, and all of a sudden the world is collapsing on these people. And it is a very stressful thing to go through. I will say that, because now all of a sudden you have the keyboard warriors. You know, it's one thing to just like comment on this and have a chuckle about it and be like, what a bunch of fucking idiots. You know, this is like similar to probably most of the stupid shit that I've said on stage, you know, some of the dumb shit that I've said on stage, you know, like, and to think like I would, I can confidently tell you I've never dressed up as a Klansman. I can confidently tell you that. And also that I've never done it and went out in public to be like, hey, get a load of this. Soak it in, big dog. Look what I got for you. Which is that's what's funny about it. That's what's funny. And we can laugh at this shit. We can. We should. And we shouldn't allow these people that do these types of things to have so much control over our emotions, you know? That's all I'm really kind of saying to this, because it is. It's like four drunks showed up and outnumbered the actual numbers of the clans. That was the highest the clans numbers have been since fucking 1979 out in Nova Scotia. Let's be honest. In Sydney, Nova Scotia, do you think that there's a thriving clans community? Do you think that this is going to spark the idea in residents of Sydney, Nova Scotia, that hey, you know what? Those 4 guys that did that. What do you say, guys? Should we get together and start doing that again? Nobody in their right mind wants to do that. First off, weekends are busy. What are we going to do? Quit our jobs to go out on a Wednesday in the woods and burn a cross and fucking repeat rhetoric of our anti-immigration shit? Just do that on the internet like the rest of us. There's a lot that goes into having a fucking, what do you call it? Like a Ku Klux Klan community? Is that what it is? Is it a club? Do you have to sign up? Is there memberships? What's going on there? I have no idea. Do you? I don't even know how the fucking thing operates. All I know is it's like the Grand Wizard is the big dog, if I'm correct. And maybe times have changed, but I don't know. Do you? I would like to. It's like, let's educate ourselves here. You know? But to think like, I think it is a bit of a wild take to think that because this guy dressed up, these four guys, that somehow this is going to spark inspiration in some individuals, that they should all get together and go and dress up and head out into the woods and partake in Klansman activities with one another. I don't think that that's going to happen. Like I said, lives are busy. Little Timmy's got soccer practice on a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Then he's got games on the weekend. We got a tournament next weekend, so I can't make it next weekend. You know, a lot of things getting in the way before you get to the idea that, hey, we should all get together and burn crosses with one another. That's kind of all I'm really getting at. I don't think it's going to spark inspiration by any means, but again, this kind of justifies like that dude's stance on it. Then like their groups and what he works for, you know, and maybe we look into it later in the show. Actually, we almost burned up an hour talking about this, which is kind of funny because that's how fucking wild it is to me. I just don't understand it. No, that's not true. I do understand four guys getting together, having a chuckle over the idea like, hey, we should show up like this. What do you say, guys? Linda wanted to be fucking, Linda wanted to be like Beetlejuice and his wife, or like we were all going to dress up like the Addams Family this year. Oh, come on, Freddie. I know you want to, don't you? I kind of do. Yeah, I kind of do want to slide the sheet on one, don't you? Slide the sheet on, huh? What do you say? Pillowcases? Cut the holes in them? Huh? And they even cut the mouths out. That's how big of booze bags these guys are. They cut the fucking mouths out. I've never seen a Klansman's hood with the mouth cut out. I've watched Django. You know, I've watched the Black Klansmen. They ain't cutting the mouths out on those, are they? I don't recall. That's how big of a piss bag these guys are. They're more worried about being able to drink drinks than they were the authenticity of a Klansman suit. So I can't think that we can sit back here and say that these guys were very serious about what, and I get like the representation of it is not that great. And I'm not trying to defend any of the Klans bullshit here. I'm not trying to do that at all. I'm just I'm just here to make fun of it. Four idiots got together and thought that this was a good idea. Now the Nova Scotia Firefighters Club is having a fucking mental breakdown over this because I can only imagine what their inbox looks like. Their phone lines are going off the fucking hook all day long. Do you think that this is appropriate? It's like, listen, none of our fucking guys did this. I got to keep explaining myself. It's a very exhausting thing to go through. Because just me personally is the media is attributed that our tour or even my stand up or whenever we show up anywhere, it's 90 minutes of like anti-Indigenous content that we're talking about on stage, which couldn't be further from the truth. You know, these are people that are talking about our show and implying that this is what we're doing and this is what we represent. Meanwhile, never seeing our show, which sucks because now you're on the constant defense to like defend yourself and be like, listen, no, that is not true. That doesn't happen. I don't say those things. In fact, most of my act is making fun of my family and ancestral relationships and how fucking just crazy stuff that's happening in the media. Making topical jokes about whatever politician did something stupid or whatever it may be. And we're just trying to take a piss on it all, right? But one little thing is all it took. And now this one little thing Now, when you hear Nova Scotia Firefighter Club, you're probably going to be like, oh, yeah, the guys that dressed up as a Klansman. No, wasn't them. They don't do that. You got to have, I don't know, you got to enjoy yourself out there sometimes. And maybe that was their release. And now it wound everybody up. Everybody's uptight again. That's unfortunate. You know, Halloween. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. If you're gonna have an offensive costume, I think you gotta put a lot of detail in it. Like I remember seeing somebody dressed up like 9/11. That's a pretty wild costume. That's really going for it. Another guy, another kid this year, he dressed up as P. Diddy, did blackface. You know, again, probably not a good idea. And his girlfriend dressed up as baby oil. Not bad, right? On paper, sounds pretty funny. When you see it, you're like, oh shit, that's going to hurt you in the future. That is not going to be good. Hope you're never running for a position where it requires, any public attention. I hope you're deep back in the office, you know. That or you better get really good at pulling wrenches, buddy, because you're going pipelining. You better be real good at carrying things, because that is what's on the list. That is Last Chance University. Speaking of which, I want to end on this. I did something that I found, okay, get right into it, Hack. Quit teasing these people. So, you know, I speak with guys that are still working in the oil patch these days, and I was curious about some of the courses that have to be taken, and I stumbled across this one. Now, I don't think it's mandatory, but I probably would assume that a lot of the higher-up companies, I'm not going to name any by any means, but I would imagine that some of them make some of these folks take these courses just so you have it. And one that I found quite interesting was a DEI course for the oil field, which I did find funny. So I decided, because it was a free online course, so I signed up and I started watching some of this stuff because it's good content. Let's be honest. It's fun to talk about. DEI in the oil field. You're telling me the they-thems of the downtown core of Edmonton are waking up in the morning and telling themselves that they want to go be a pipe fitter? Is that what we're telling ourselves now? Is that how deep down the rabbit hole? Now, I can understand like these positions in nice offices and corner offices and fighting to want to be there. But now we're down to like, you want to go paint pipe at minus 35? Is that what you want to do? You want to go trip pipe in fucking Wabasca? That. Are we being serious right now? This is where you lose me with. In fact, right out of the gate, you kind of lose me a little bit. You want diversity in the oil field? Make another boom happen. We all remember the boom. Remember the boom? You remember the boom? It happened all over. People were attracted to the money. That's what it was. You could go work in a camp somewhere, and you would have Nigerian women making $45 an hour just washing coveralls in a camp outside of Fort McMurray or some shit. You want diversity, make the money attractive. That's all you got to do, because nobody in their right mind. You think a trans man, trans woman, a they, them, whatever it may be, you think a furry is waking up in the morning and trying to convince themselves that the only reason that they are not a laborer on a pipeline is because of the gatekeeping that's happening there? Like, this is where this is where you lose me quite on, because I don't believe for a second. Okay, one lady had a story of like, hey, well, there was an incident where they were hiring welders, and there was one female welder, and they cut her out immediately in the hiring process just simply because she was a girl. Okay, yeah, not that fair. I'll admit that. Okay, not that fair. We can both agree on that. Maybe she's a really good welder. Maybe she's not. We don't know. So this lady suggested that they have a welding test, and then we'll bring in inspectors, and they won't know whose weld is who. And then, of course, in this Disney-like success story, the woman was the best welder out of all of them. And then we are in this realm where we have to celebrate her for being the best weld. And it's just like, okay, yeah, they missed the mark on that one. We can all admit that. Yeah, okay, we'll agree. We will agree on that one, lady. I'm with you on that. Not that fair. Not that cool. Okay? Not that cool. And let's be honest, any lady that's a welder and is stuck around for more than 10 years, probably not that bad of a person, and you can hang out with her in the field. Okay? Probably, more than likely. Now, has she had to go through some shit? Well, you go stay in the bush with dudes who haven't seen a woman in about 30 days. They probably start getting a little weird, getting a little frisky, getting a little, something, my body's doing something that, I haven't had the touch of a woman in over 45 days. And you know what? To suppress that, I beat my cock in paper-thin wall fucking camp rooms, and I got to listen to my neighbor while he's got fucking gonzo porno going on in his. So I'm just whacking it to the idea of him whacking it, and it's getting pretty weird in here. So when a lady pops up, oh, what is this? What is this magnificent creature? My Lord Almighty, have you presented me such a gift to stare at all day? And do I think that's cool? Of course, no, it's not cool. We got to chill out, boys. We got to chill out. You can't be weird at work. Who wants to get weird at work? I never understood guys that want to fuck the secretary. Why are you shitting where you eat? Knock it off. Grow a brain. There's plenty of hole out there. Just go talk to one. Download an app. Rent it. There's websites. Hey, guess what? You work 4 hours overtime this week. You can rent one for an hour, and they'll gladly do it. It's a consensual transaction between the two of you. And you can enjoy that experience, and she gets to not enjoy the experience, but at the end of it, understands that this is a job and somebody's got to do it. That was a rant. Anyways, all I'm saying is, don't be getting any questionable ideas next year for Halloween and thinking that showing up to the fireman's Halloween dance in the wife's dumb purchase of these fucking bed sheets because they don't fit, and they're like, hey, I don't have a costume, what do you mean you don't have just go as like, oh, I'm an oil field worker, oh, I'm a fireman dressed up as a fire hole. Don't be getting too wild out there, gents. It's a crazy, crazy world. And we're always one step away from doing something a little silly. Trust me, I know about doing some silly things and reaping the consequences. In fact, getting bent over and fucked dry with them continuously until, my hole looks like just if you took one of those fuzzy peach rings and shoved your fist through it, that's what it looks like. Just repetitively. Just a dry fist, torn up, warts, cut. All right. Okay, enough. Anyways, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. Please check out the Patreon, patreon.com/DangerCat69. All tour dates and upcoming stand-up shows are on DangerCatShop.com. Subscribe, comment down below. What's the worst costume that you've worn to a Halloween party? What is the worst one? Or even the worst one you've witnessed? What is the most offensive costume you could possibly come up with or have seen? Comment down below. Let me know. And I don't know. Next week we'll fucking talk about it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying, boys?